What can we expect from Alabama here in this massive game against Wisconsin? Now, massive, it's going to be the most massive test Alabama has had at this point in the year because they've played Western Kentucky and USF. No shade to those programs. However, Wisconsin on the road, big noon, Camp Randall getting, jumping around in the fourth quarter will present some different challenges. So what can we expect from Alabama? I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. I think they're going to rev the engine a little bit more offensively than what we've seen so far from this Jalen Milroe scheme. We'll talk about all that right now, but first things first, make sure you're subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. If you're an Alabama fan, going to talk a lot about the Crimson Tide, so make sure you're dialed in. Second part of this, want to make sure you all know the hard count is brought to you by our friends over at PrizePicks. Now, PrizePicks is helping us squeeze the juice out of this college football season, okay? It's daily fantasy, super easy to withdraw your winnings, also really easy to play. For us, we play exclusively college football on this show. Go to the board, see a bunch of player projections on their stats for that week. You pick two or more player projections, pick more or less on those stats. You're off to the races with a lineup. And if you just play a $5 lineup, even if you don't win, just for playing, get yourself $50 in promo funds. We got a play for you during this segment. So if you want to tail us, great. You want to fade us, even better. Alabama, during our playoff tiers this week, which again, we're still waiting to finalize that name. Playoff tier sounds a little bit boring. But we had Alabama in the top tier, what we call the playoff penthouse. And when I posted that on the socials, had a lot of people say, JD, are you serious? Did you see how they looked against USF for 3.5 quarters? Like, you think they're a playoff team? For me, I think that we are overreacting if we think that Alabama is going to be lackluster because of how they looked against USF. Why do I feel that way? Well, outside of the roster and Jalen Milroe and Jalen Milroe having one of the best records as a head coach currently among all active college football head coaches, they also played USF pretty tough a season ago, or on the other side, USF played them pretty tough a season ago. So I'm not writing off Bama just because of the USF game, okay? Offensive line was dinged up, and maybe as important, I think the scheme for Alabama through 2 games has been pretty vanilla. Why? Because it's been Western Kentucky and USF. No shade to either of those schools, but I do think they will probably draw it up a little bit more for Wisconsin. And how it works for any college football team going into a game, you carry a game plan, right? So you rep that game plan during the week. You have specific packages and plays that you like more for that week against that scheme. And so that is essentially, what you put together going into the game. And I would say game plans are a lot like packing a suitcase. Like, you pack what you need. And I don't believe that the game against Western Kentucky and USF, they're really stuffing that suitcase, stuffing that game plan too full to the brim. Like, the equivalent for me of those games when you're packing for a certain occasion, like, probably pack a lot of T-shirts, a lot of basketball shorts, some nice Nike Crew socks. Like, you're probably just packing some stuff to be casual and hang out in. You're not packing the creme de la creme of what you have in your closet, all right? You keep it very simple, very basic. We're good to go. Now, I'm not saying that Wisconsin is going to be the governor's ball in terms of what you're packing for, but it might be like the equivalent of a nice party. Probably dressed to impress a little bit more. On the road, big noon kickoff. A defense that's pretty salty now, brings back 70% production from last year's squad that allowed right around 20 points a game. Luke Fickell, he's a dog of a ball coach. Like, there are some things maybe to account for here when it comes to what you put into the game plan for Wisconsin. I think for this one, they're probably going to pack a little bit more, right, to stick with our metaphor there. Now, one thing that Alabama has shown so far to this point in the year that just quite frankly has fired me up is the empty sets with Jalen Milroe and the quarterback design runs getting north and south. I'd be, shocked if we don't see some of that in this game. I would be equally shocked if Alabama doesn't have some counters off of that, whether it be that same look and then Alabama has a pop pass out of it, whether it be that same look and then it's a counter the other direction, or that same look with a reverse. Like, I'm not saying you see that in this game, but I am saying I think they have it in the playbook, and I think there will be an effort to again, be a little bit more complex, a little bit less vanilla in their game plan against Wisconsin. Okay, so when it comes to our plays that we like for PrizePicks, Wisconsin has allowed over 120 yards on the ground in both of their contests at this point in the year. They have played South Dakota and they've played Western Michigan. Okay, so Alabama, what they bring to the table here, going to be a little bit more daunting than either of those operations. Jalen Milroe, his projection on PrizePicks is 44.5 rush yards. I like the more there. I like that a lot. For what I just said, I think Wisconsin, as good as they are as a football team, I don't think they're going to be ready for what Jalen Milroe is bringing with his legs. You get him in space, you get him north and south, that's a win for Alabama. Okay, I'll say that. 99% of the time, that is advantage Alabama. Give him numbers, give him blockers, give him space. He's cooking, okay? So we'll take Jalen Milroe, 44.5 rush yards. We'll hit the more there. And then we also, like Caleb Williams, a special free square from PrizePicks, if he has more than a half a passing yard, that square hits. So again, essentially a free square. We'll take both those together, feel great about doing it. Again, use code HARDCOUNT at prizepicks.com just for playing. Just even if this doesn't hit, you play a $5 lineup, get yourself $50 in promo funds to spread throughout the rest of your college football Saturday. So bottom line here, Alabama going to be more multiple, I think more complex. It may not be the tuxedo of game plans, but I do think you'll see them maybe throw on the collared shirt, maybe some khakis, maybe the nice dunks for this one when it comes to the shoe game. It's going to be a little bit more advanced than what we've seen to this point in the year. And this will be, I think, like the tip of the iceberg for what Kalen DeBoer's offense is going to be in Tuscaloosa. Make sure you're subscribed. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.